people of YouTube? It's your boy, Chucky Mike, and we are back. It's been a long time, probably been a couple weeks, but we're going to try something a little different today, so stay tuned. Cue the intro. What's up, people? It's your boy, Chucky Mike. Appreciate you for being here. If it's your first time to the channel, welcome. Consider becoming a subscriber. So I usually do more videos about funny stuff and reacting to comedy skits, Bill Burr, Family Guy, that type of stuff. But I'm a huge basketball fan if you haven't watched my channel before. And I came across a video of like this dude named Mike. Oh no, his name is JxmyHighroller, and he did like a video of like regular guys challenging NBA guys, and I always find this fascinating because I actually have friends that think that they can hoop so good, and they'll call me and have conversations about how they're better than NBA players, and I'm just like, come on, man, these dudes have made it to the highest level of basketball. It's no way you can just disrespect them like that by saying you're better. So when I saw this video, I was like, yeah, I definitely have to do a reaction to this. So yeah, if you like this video, if you want to see more stuff like this, leave this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also follow me on social media on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, let's get into it.
Have you ever watched an NBA game and thought to yourself, you know, under the right circumstances, if I maxed out all of my abilities and put all my efforts into this sport, I think I could play in the league. Regardless of how unrealistic this is, I'm sure we've all had this thought before. We all love the game, and we all love to play it at the highest level. But for 99.9% of us, this dream will forever remain just that.
Correct.
A dream. Because the gap between most of us and an NBA player is massive. In fact, it could be difficult to understand just how much better the average NBA player is compared to the average Joe.
Correct.
Luckily for us, every once in a while an NBA player will take the time to show us just how much better they really are. A few weeks ago, a high school basketball player challenged Brian Scalabrine, former NBA player and basketball GOAT, to a game of one-on-one.
Right.
The kid was confident, so confident that he even bet his own shoes on the game. Now, this kid looks to be a solid 6'2", 6'3", with some good skill and athleticism.
Hell no. Nope. Just by the way he shot that, he might play in his little high school. It looks like they got a real nice gym too. So he probably lives in a really nice area. He might play at his little shitty upscale suburban high school and probably thinks he's nice. I can tell just by the way he shot that, he had no chance. Brian Scalabrine, as if you want to call him a shitty dude in the NBA, first of all, he's 6'10", I believe. So right there, you already lost that game right there. He's obviously got some weight on him. He's not a skinny dude. He can shoot like crazy. So I already know where this is going.
The average high school hooper. On the other hand, Scalabrine is a 43-year-old who's been retired for nearly a decade. But there's levels to this. So on the first possession, the high schooler tries to create space with a little hezzy pull-up and gets stuffed. At this point, the game was already over.
Wait, too little. Too little. Too little. And that's one more thing I want to point out. Now, granted, I'm sure they're showing all his highlights where he made all the shots. I'm sure he missed some shots. But that's one thing I will say about the average guy. Most average people, they do not play any defense. You can go to your local rec center and watch average guys play. There is very little defense being played. If you play just an ounce of defense in the average game, if you can get your team in a rec game to buy into just a little bit of defense, you will almost be guaranteed to win because nobody plays defense.
After what probably felt like the longest 5 minutes of the kid's life, Brian Scalabrine beat the high schooler 11-0. It wasn't even close. Now, I'm sure there's some clips of the kid getting more shots up on Brian, but his friends decided to only include the clips of Brian torching him. Now, Scal could have easily used his size on every possession,
right,
but to really make an example out of the young buck, he got into his bag instead. This isn't even fair. Keep in mind, Brian is a relatively out-of-shape 43-year-old.
Right. I think he played at Florida University in Florida Gators.
Brian wasn't even an average NBA player. No offense to the man, but when I tried to search up his stats on Basketball Reference, Brian was so low on the leaderboard that he didn't even come up. His name literally doesn't appear.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. Even the worst dude in the NBA is better than your best player at your rec center. He will the worst. You could take. I always like to use the example of Donald Sloan. He used to play on the Cavs. Donald Sloan has been in many teams, played overseas, NBA, DG League, all of that stuff, and he will come into your local rec center and score 50 on your best player in there, guaranteed.
So instead, I had to go over to the ESPN archives and dig through hundreds and hundreds of players until I finally found old Brian on the last page of the league leaderboard. Out of 479 players in the NBA that season, Brian ranked 464th. 464th.
Well, this is a Ghana
In
job.
Brian's last season in the NBA, he scored just 32 points. In the season before, he scored just 20. And in the season before that, he scored 78. In fact, Brian scored less points in his entire 11-year NBA career than James Harden scored last season in the first 45 games of the season. In Scal's last season...
And that's so crazy. That should let you know how good James Harden is. So that people that be like, man, James Harden ain't even good. I could, like, shut up.
In the NBA, he was worse at scoring the ball than 97% of NBA players. And here he is, 9 years later, shooting hoops in his spare time and still absolutely smoking an above-average hooper. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what I like to call perspective. It's something that you need in order to grasp exactly where you stand in the world of sports. And yet it's something that a lot of sports fans lack.
They really do.
That one guy that swears he would have went to the league if he didn't get injured or he got more playing time or if he was 6 inches taller. That's me saying that. I'm that one guy. But all jokes aside, sometimes we just need to get walked by real NBA talent to know exactly how good these guys are. Like in 2017, when a 22-year-old Fred VanVleet went one-on-one against 2 other hoopers. Now, these other hoopers were far from average. One of them was Marcus Posley, a guard in the G League. The other hooper was Jordan Poole, who is now a contributing player on the Warriors, but at the time was an 18-year-old fresh out of high school as the 51st top prospect in the entire country.
And look, I'm going to stop it there when he got the G League guy. I used to play at the gym with a G League guy. He was a little taller than me. I'm 6'4". He was about 6'5", 6'6". I'm like, I want to say 185. He might have been like maybe 215. He was a pretty buff dude, right? He was so good that nobody could really guard him. The only way you could guard him if he was not trying to score. I played in games with him, like league games. And he was so dominating over everybody else. And this is a dude, and he got no time in the G League. He got no play time in the G League. He actually ended up not hooping anymore. He got injured now, but he was so good, and he still got no time in the G League. That should let you know how good some of these dudes are. Fred VanVleet is a little guy, too. I think he's like barely 6 foot, and he's in the league for a reason. Do not disrespect NBA players. They are a lot better than they come off on TV. They just look average on TV because they're playing against the best people in the world. But when they play against you, the average guy, it's like you're a cone to them. You're not even visible. You're not there.
2 elite basketball players, one a professional in the G League, the other a top high school recruit with 5 inches on VanVleet. Both of them far better than everyone at your local gym.
Correct.
Take a wild guess at how these one-on-ones went.
Oh, we got a commercial. Yeah, bro. I just find this topic so disrespectful. Look at that. Easy. He's not even trying. This is like routine shot. Look at that. Not even trying. Look at that. Not even trying.
Pretty much exactly how you would expect. VanVleet, going half speed, was still on another level. Just look at how easy he gets to his spots. Getting up shots like the defender isn't even there. In a King's Court format, Poole finished with 3, Posley finished with 7, and VanVleet finished with 19. And didn't even break a sweat in the process. Look at this bucket here. Come on, dog.
Boop, easy.
This man literally
Get back.
isn't even
And
trying.
one. That's the and
Today,
one in the
most
game.
fans know Van Vliet as a killer point guard with a championship and a 54-point performance under his belt. But back in 2017, Fred was hardly a rotational guy for the Raptors, averaging just 8 minutes and 3 points per game. This guy is 6 feet tall on a good day, can hardly get playing time in the league, and here he is completely sleepwalking through 2 elite basketball talents like it's nothing.
Right.
Perspective.
And listen though, and Fred Van Fleet, he's not even a good athlete. He, like, you get the dudes in the NBA that are like the Westbrooks, the John Walls, the Derrick Rose before he got injured, the real solid athletic dude. This dude is not even an athlete. He could probably barely dunk, but he got it so much up here that it's nothing you can do. Like I hate when people disrespect NBA dudes like these are the best dudes in the world. And for you as an average guy that can barely score on the local bums at the rec, and you struggling, you playing hard, talking shit to bums, and you think you can do this in an NBA game where everybody is the top athletes in the world, you must be smoking that crack, my nigga. Come on.
And I would like to say that for the most part, NBA players don't even give us average Joes the time of day. Only once in a blue moon do they bring their busy days to a halt to show some washed up hack just how delusional he is. But far more often, these pros don't even listen to the chatter. Well, all of them but Scalabrini. Brian doesn't just listen to us average Joes, he makes a show about it and proceeds to embarrass our fellow average brethren for the world to see. Seriously, this was a real thing. This actually happened. In 2013, on a show called The Scallenge, which is pretty much the greatest name for a show in the history of shows, Brian Scalabrini didn't just play random guys one-on-one and take their shoes. This man handpicked contestants via video submissions, brought them onto his own show, created apparel and merchandise for the show, and even had his own sideline crew to call the action. This is absolute peak, all-time pettiness from Scal.
This is pretty much what them channels like Devontae Friga and them do now. That White Iverson, AJ Lepre. That's what this is pretty much what that is before what today is.
And I love it. Imagine sending a video to a former NBA player, calling him out on his game and saying you could beat him, and probably assuming you won't actually get picked. And then next thing you know, you're suited up in a gym checking the ball up to a 6'8" NBA champion. Now, some of these video submissions were complete satire, but for every guy trying to crack some jokes, there was a hooper who actually felt like he had a chance against Scal. The 3 contestants he chose were Matt Tomaszewski, Rich Morantis, and Jake Fay. Now, Mr. Tomaszewski wasn't your average hooper. Matt was a 6'8" forward who started at Syracuse just a year before this one-on-one. The second challenger, Rich, was actually a really good hooper back in his day, a former D2 player and also a former pro in Australia. The last challenger, Jake Fay, well, Jake is the epitome of an average player who had nothing but what I assume are a few Rec League trophies in his submitted video that he literally did drills around. 3 challengers,
Talk about
1
trolling.
Scalabrini, and a 0% probability that anyone stood a chance.
That's funny. Bruh, it's always that one scrub at the rec that gets hot one day and he make a couple of shots. Now he feel like, oh, I'm the greatest player in the world, bruh. I hate it. I hate it so much. Man, I'm nice. Y'all trash. Y'all trash.
Tomaszewski, a graduate of Syracuse where he played basketball. Rich, it's a good size matchup. They're almost identical in physical.
I was going to say, this probably would be his best game because the guy in the green, Tomaszewski, he looked like they pretty much look like the same type of guy, like a spot up shooter type of guy, set shooter, play to, just you don't really do nothing else but shoot the ball. They look like the same type of player, so that's probably gonna be his hardest matchup. The other two should be easy.
I watched him in warm-ups. He can hit threes all day, but the question is, does he have the speed? Does he have the quickness to take on the Vanilla Godzilla?
Elbows
The
up.
Vanilla Godzilla. And he don't play, I can tell that dude don't play no D. The Tomaszewski guy, he don't play no D. He never had to play D.
Back for the 3. Oh, red.
It's an interesting strategy.
Yeah, look how he playing D, and he weak.
What a contest.
Hey, seriously?
Well, that went about as terrible as I thought it would. Let's see how Jake did.
Where I'm from, I'm called the Great White Hope.
The Great White Hope.
this guy's gonna
Oh, he can dunk. Oh no, this is a terrible thing too. These fucking practice dunkers, these dudes, they be throwing the ball up in practice and catching and throwing it off the glass and dunking it. But you get in the game, they ain't dunked in the game not one time, because you actually have to get there and actually be able to jump over people to dunk in the game. You can't just throw the ball up in the air. I fucking hate them practice dunkers.
It's not bad. All
This
right.
guy's decent.
Wow. I think this guy might be a keeper.
And he got his trophy now.
down the
Trash.
Yeah.
Scout, what do you think?
He looked like one of them dudes that just jack up a lot of bad shots.
It's a guy, we're going to pick this guy. I like it. Make sure you bring your trophies. This is the guy we want.
Scout.
No, he didn't. He got fouled.
Okay. Oh, that's just embarrassing. Oh,
But Andy don't play no D. Look at him, little ass boy.
there you go.
Ooh, la.
There you go. Go for the dunk, baby. Oh!
Because he's Scalabrini, you got to check him out there because he can shoot. He said he don't play no D. He one of them dudes that don't play no D.
Yep, pretty much what I thought.
Right.
Rich, let's see what you can do.
As much as I would have to guard him, he'd have to guard me.
That's another sign of a dude that don't play no D. Oh, whoa, yeah, he got to guard me too. So that means I don't play no defense. That's code for I don't play defense.
Chosen death.
And one. No substitute for size, bruh. And one. Ain't nothing you can do, bruh. You too little. Bap.
You walk away with a shutout. What did you take from it?
Didn't touch the ball, did you?
That's that first shot I should have made. Then after that, I just couldn't get the shot going. Really, it's kind of where it is.
Okay, that was terrible. Breaking news. NBA players, even old washed up retired ones, are way, way, way better than any of us. And I would like to say that after torching these three contestants, everyone's ego came back down to earth. But no. Instead, and I'm not joking when I say this, the sideline crew decided to get in on the action and challenge Brian to a game of
Bro,
3-on-1.
come on, man. I could beat them dudes 3-on-1. Come on, look at them. Look how these dudes is built.
Yes.
Look at the shoes they got on. None of them can
average
hoop.
middle-aged men versus one former NBA player.
Come on, man.
Based on what you've seen so far, how exactly do y'all think this went down?
Come on, man. I could beat them 3-on-1. Come on now. Look at these bums.
Why are you tripping like that?
Look at these bums. If they were smart, they would put two on him at one time and then one guard in the hole in case he beat him off the dribble. But that's what I'm saying. 3 bums.
Oh boy. I mean, I would really like to say that these guys put up a decent fight.
They did not.
But yeah. This is what happens when average Joes try to go against an NBA player. In fact, this is what happens when an average hooper, a former D1 player, and even a former overseas guy go against an NBA player.
There's nothing you can do. They're too good.
If you ever get to actually play an elite talent on this level, it's just not going to go well for you.
It's really
So,
not.
Shout out to Brian.
It's
Fred,
really not.
and
We gonna end it there, man. There's no point harping on the point anymore. I'm gonna end it there. But look, I actually had this conversation with 2 of my dudes. My dude called me up. He said, man, Kyle Lowry, shitty, man. He could play in the league. I could average that in the league. What he don't do nothing. I'm like, bro, come on, man. Don't. Kyle Lowry averages 17 points a game, 7 assists in the league. Every night. That means he's scoring 17. So that means he's really scoring 20 plus every night. And then he's having a couple of bad games to bring his average down to 17. You can't do that. We played on the Cavs floor recently. And this dude was tired, done, second half. Had a bad game, done in the second half. I'm just like, bro, you really think? And keep in mind, the dude I'm talking about, he's an undersized 4. He's like a 5'10" guy. In the league, you're a point guard at 5'10". Me, when I play basketball at the rec, me being 6'4", I'm the big dude out there. When I play in better men's leagues with better competition, I'm a 1. So you would be guarding me, a 1. You would be guarding Russell Westbrook in the league. You would be guarding Steph Curry. You would be guarding John Wall. You would be guarding Kyrie Irving. You not only have to play D on these superstar guys, you still got to try to score on the other end. Like, that's what I'm saying. Kyle Lowry plays good defense. He's a streaky shooter, but he makes shots. He makes layup, and he takes a lot of charges, and he's a good passer. You cannot do those things at your current level. It might sound good in theory. I know you come and dominate everybody direct because you're more athletic than the average guy, but you can't do nothing with people in the league because they're smarter, they're taller, they're more physically imposing, they're just better basketball players. They've been doing this their entire life. You go to work and drive your truck for 8 hours a day and you get paid. They go work out 2 times a day, go shoot 1,000 shots, and they get paid. If you've never been paid to play basketball, you are not that good. Get that out your head, people. I hate when people disrespect NBA players. I'm just like, bruh, y'all are tripping. You can't do this. You cannot. You cannot. I give you another example. This video so long, but I'm really passionate about this subject. It's an old fat dude that I hoop with. He the only one that runs the gym. There's a guy that comes in there that's pretty decent. Me and him usually have some pretty good back and forth. I know for the world I'm not that good. I'm just good against local competition because I'm pretty much bigger than everybody and I can just play smart. But for the world, I've played against people that I'm like, dude, I would never stand a chance at a higher level. All right, so he seems to think this dude that I go back and forth with is better. He said, yeah, he could give Terry Rozier a run for his money. I'm like, what? I'm like, Terry Rozier, you mean the dude that scores 25 plus points a game for the Charlotte Hornets? You mean the dude that just got a $60 million contract to play basketball? This dude at the Rec can give him a run for his money? Or are you smoking chronic, my dude? Come on, man. You have to, and they be really serious though. I'm like, bruh, this dude is in the league. He was an All-American in high school. He played Division I basketball at Louisville for 2 years, left early and gets drafted to the league. Played in the playoffs. You telling me a dude at the Rec that's no better than me, an average guy, a slightly above average basketball player, you telling me that he can give a dude in the NBA averaging 20 plus points a game a run for his money? You got to be high out your mind. Stop the madness, man. Hey, if you like this type of content, leave this video a thumbs up. I'm sorry I rambled on, but I hate this. I hate when the average dudes think they can hoop so good because you really can't. Leave this video a thumbs up, man. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on social media, Instagram and Twitter. Hey, it's your boy, Chucky Mike. Appreciate y'all. If y'all made it this far, appreciate you for sticking around with me. I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. I'm out.